Okay, it is the third hour of the show. As I said, let's get to this story and switch gears. A Montreal family says their 89-year-old grandmother will never be the same after she was left lying injured in the parking lot of a Walmart for over an hour. Let's get the story of Dorothy Baker, and it's our pleasure to welcome Jonathan Labow-Hart onto the program, grandson of Dorothy Baker. Jonathan, welcome to the program.
Hi, Elias. Thank you for having me.
First things first, why don't you describe to our listeners your grandmother? Tell us all about Dorothy Baker.
Okay, so prior to this, my grandmother was a lovable 89-year-old who was full of life, driving a car perfectly, independent, living in her private condominium in Côte Saint-Luc, very independent, of anyone. She did everything on her own. And it was a typical day for her going to Walmart. So that's how I would describe my grandmother. Very with it, did her own groceries, did her own shopping, and that's it to describe my grandmother prior.
And I think a lot of listeners are thinking about their parents, their grandparents, as you describe Dorothy, and thinking that, well, this could be so many people in our listeners' lives. So what happened to your grandmother? Take us to January 11th and what happened.
Okay, perfectly. So as far as I know and what I have witnessed, my grandmother was going to Walmart. I spoke to her in the morning like any other day, and she said she was going to do her weekly groceries at Walmart on the Carey Road, Jockey Road, or Jean Talon. 3 streets there, so whichever one you put it.
Yes.
The Walmart near Côte Saint-Luc and Hampstead.
Yes.
So basically she went there, and within 2 minutes of her parking her car, she got out to get her reusable bags, and she slipped and she fell completely down right behind her car. I would say no more than 20 to 30 feet from the front entrance of the Walmart front doors. She does have a handicap because obviously it's easier for her to have accessible parking. So she was viewed by all because it was literally the second parking spot, as you could probably see on the newscast from Rachel Lau,
Yes.
exactly where she was. So she fell. And I was currently at the bank, and I got a phone call from a passerby who came to her rescue and saw her on the ground. He went to get blankets for her, and then he went into Walmart to see if he could get more, and he actually saw a manager, and all she said to him was, "Did you call 911?" He said, "Yes." Then he said, "Could I get more blankets?" She said, "Well, at this point, I don't know. Let me come back in 15 minutes, like it was not an urgency." I rushed there within 15 minutes. I was on Queen Mary Road in my car, got there, and my grandmother was lying completely on the floor in snow. Luckily, the passerby by the name of Milan was basically there shielding her with a blanket till we got there, and he was unbelievably kind and keeping her warm to the best of her ability while she was lying in a slush. And like I said on the newscast, it's like, unfortunately, like it was like a roadkill because she was covered. It was like a dead animal that was just lying there. And to answer your question, Elias, she was lying there for 1 hour. Not one Walmart person came out to see how she is, if she needs coffee, if she needs cold water, if she needs something warm. And before you go on with your next question, I asked them, could you barricade her so she's not run over? And they looked at me and said, we cannot do that. And they continued in, like she didn't exist.
This is the management of Walmart or a manager of Walmart telling you no, they wouldn't do anything?
Yes, this was the witness who was in the Walmart who went in to get a blanket. They did give a sleeping bag at one point, or it was a blanket. They did. But other than that, when they requested for more, they said come back in 15 minutes, and they didn't because everyone was busy outside with her. It was all the passerbyers, all the customers that were about to go into Walmart that were shielding her with their car doors and basically keeping her safe because she would have been run over. And Walmart did zero accountability, not even to come out, like I said, to ask, do you need anything? At such a vulnerable age, I would do anything. Yes, you can't move her. Okay, I'm not faulting them for that, but at least offer some assistance. It's like she didn't exist.
We're with Jonathan Labow-Hart. He's telling us about the experience of his grandmother, Dorothy Baker, 89 years old, who suffered a fall at Walmart. So, Jonathan, as I look at this story, I'm seeing good, I'm seeing bad. I'm seeing the good about the customers, the passers-by that took this seriously and cared for your grandmother. And then I just look at the dropping of the ball, the just nothing done on the Walmart side of things when, of course, it's their parking lot. Have there been any conversations since then with management, maybe with Walmart officials in head offices?
Sure. So to answer your question, but I'd just like to say once again, thank you to all the the customers. If it wasn't for them, I owe them. Our family owes them everything. They know who they are, and if they're listening, thank you for everything you did. Because if it wasn't for you, those 15 crucial moments of getting her safely, I don't think she would have made it in the parking lot. We'll talk about her injuries after, but to answer your question, we did reach out to Walmart. They answered us once or twice, but then it went silent. They kind of ignored us. My father was communicating with them, didn't hear anything back. Then only after Rachel Lau reached out to them and Mike Cohen did they start to reach out. They want now a demand letter. They want certain things that we're going to investigate. But right now, it's just coincidental that they ignored us until the media got involved.
Well, unfortunately, that is often the case, right? And we've seen this happen time and time again. I guess it's one of our roles here that media has in society. But let me ask you about Grandma, about Dorothy. How is she doing?
Okay, so my grandmother was rushed to the Jewish General Hospital and had emergency surgery on January 12th, the next day, because it was crucial. She had a shattered hip. They couldn't repair it completely because of the severity of it, so they had to put in 2 metal rods and posts, which were very painful. 10 days later, she was released to the Catherine Booth Hospital Rehabilitation Center, which they are amazing with her, but the progress is very slow. So what happened is once she got to rehab, it was a very slow process. And then 10 days later, unfortunately, due to the complications of the surgery, she had a pulmonary embolism, which is obviously in her lung, that she would have died in her sleep had the nurse not taken her blood pressure that day. And then they called the ambulance and they sent her back to the Jewish General Hospital, where she was there for another 2 days. And then 10 days later, then she went back to Catherine Booth. Sorry, it's the whole story. Then 10 days later after that, she developed COVID, which was pretty bad. She was on antivirals. And today when I spoke to her, because I go every day to see her, her progress is slow. She's going to probably be at a rehab at least another month. It's very, very crucial she gets the therapy she needs. And now she's not feeling well and she thinks she has the flu. So her body is going through a complete shock and it's never ending to the point like she's not going to be the same. Her mind is starting to be a bit different, but not in terms of like dementia or things. She's still very with it, but it's just her body's taking a toll that we may have to put her like in an independent, not a home because she's still functioning, like a assisted living, like a B'nai B'rith home or something like that where she could be with people, because I don't think at this point it's safe at her age to be living alone in her home with in her lobby, there's nobody that sits there.
Jonathan, listen, before I have to let you go, I just want to know, what are you looking for Walmart to do here? What kind of accountability would you like to see at this point?
Okay, so basically accountability. Even a thank you. Nothing has been given. Why did they not barricade her? Why did they leave her like that, lying on the floor like a crushed animal, like she wasn't anything, like she was just nothing, like it wasn't important to her? She was a weekly customer that went there and gave them money. And Walmart always values customers, they say, and integrity and stuff. They showed no compassion. They didn't even come out. It was their customers who were dealing with the situation 30 feet from their front doors. Why did they not offer assistance? Why did they not ask, does she need a glass of water? Could we do anything? Could we get her heat packs? What could we do to do anything for her? They did absolutely nothing. So my answer to your question, accountability. They're just ignoring it like she did not exist.
Would a sincere apology go a long way here?
That would be a start. But I feel that they're now pressured to deal with the family only after media got involved. Like you said, that's the norm. Yeah. But why in life does it have to go to this extent for something to be taken seriously?
Jonathan, I hope that your grandmother has a quick and speedy recovery, as quick as possible. Thank you so much for sharing her story with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me, and take care and have a wonderful weekend.
You too. That's Jonathan Labow-Hart, grandson of Dorothy Baker. Dorothy, if you're hearing this, we wish you get well really, really soon.